Aloha, everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks on YouTube. This is episode 165. Can you believe it? Made it this far. Thank you guys for listening, following, subscribing, even donating to the podcast. Thank you guys. And if you feel like it, there's an actual link on my Spotify episodes where it will allow you to donate towards the podcast. Thank you guys for doing that. On this episode, uh, got a few things to talk about. We got two comedy shows to talk about. We got one, Sterling Stand Up. It was a show produced by Rachel Sterling, and it was over at the De La Hoya Comedy Store. That was on March 20th, I believe. And then we got the Abnormal Nights comedy show, which is produced by Alex Petit. That was on March 21st at the Adams Avenue Theater. Uh, we also have some stuff to talk about: SDSU basketball, Duke basketball, Lakers, LA Kings playing the Padres. So let's start with the two comedy shows before I forget. Uh, so I believe the Sterling Stand Up Show was hosted by and started by Lucy Love. She got things started, I believe. Um, Usual, go over the rules of the club. Don't park at the Vons or Pavilion, otherwise you get towed. I always park on Face Street or that street that is before Pearl Street. It kind of curls from the when you're on the 52 West, and it becomes that long road, which I believe they call it. I don't know. Is it called La Jolla Boulevard? I don't think so. Maybe. Who knows? All I know is that when you keep going straight into 52 West, it becomes an actual street, and then it curls at a strange intersection, and then you make a right turn and you get onto Pearl Street, and there you have the comedy store right there. And the next light over is actually Face Street. So those are two streets that you can park on. Pretty much any comedy patron will do that and not take a risk at parking the parking lot of Mullins. Unless you know somebody who knows your car and knows not to tow this particular car, but otherwise, you should be safe if you park on Fay and the other street that connects to Pearl. Maybe it's called La Jolla Boulevard. I don't know. I'm probably guessing it's called something else. Uh, but overall, uh, Mike Vin also went up. Uh, he kind of has his jokes about being a stepdad, being a cool stepdad. Uh, but I don't think I've heard anything new from Mike recently. So, but these jokes actually do hit pretty well with the crowd. Lucy's always good with the crowds too. They usually don't ever bomb it ever. Um, let's see. I'm actually gonna look it up right now. What that street is. Uh, let's see. Huh. I guess it's called La Jolla Parkway. Let's zoom in on this. Gerard. There you go. It's basically, yeah. So 52 West becomes, I guess, their version of Torrey Pines Road, and then it becomes you make a left turn on Girard, and then you make a quick right onto Pearl. So and there you have it. You have the Park on Girard or Park on Fay. Uh, but yeah, uh, I believe Rachel Sterling went up, returned it home to La Jolla. She had some crowd work going on. She was asking about this one person in the crowd, what class they graduated from La Jolla, and I guess the person said 2016. Rachel was doing some math. She did said that she graduated from La Jolla in 1997. So that is a 19-year difference. So, uh, I'm not even gonna calculate how old Rachel is. I don't want to get in trouble. Anywho, uh, but yeah, Rachel did talk about her breast implants, and she did say that she dated guys that were younger than her breast implants. That was funny. Uh, but yeah, um, Rachel did all right. She got laughs from like parts of the crowd every minute. It wasn't like a big ovation of laughs for most of the crowd. It actually felt more like there were always like 5, 10 people at a time laughing um, every minute. So like the room was probably like 70 or so people, right? But every 10 people at a time randomly will laugh, but the others probably won't laugh as loud, and I probably won't pick it up. But there's always people laughing in parts of the crowd, and it's all throughout her set. So, anywho, I would say uh, Rachel Sterling was a 7.9 out of 10. Um, she did talk about her husbands, her ex-husbands. So uh, that joke usually does pretty well actually. Then we have Gabby Vargas. She's super great. She's super intense as usual, like how I saw her last time. Uh, and she did pretty well with this crowd. Always brings the intensity. She always talks about growing out her hairs, her armpit hairs, her pubic hairs, and then tying them together. So that was pretty interesting to hear. Uh, but yeah, so uh, Gabby Parker did talk about how she was dating Jesus back when she was younger, and then talking about you know being up there, hanging around with those abs, those sad eyes. Yeah, that got some people very curious about this particular part of her set, including myself. But she was pretty funny. I would say she was a 8.2 out of 10. Uh, then we have Faisal Lawrence. I've seen him one time before. Then I saw him at the Laugh Factory when I was there to see somebody else, Renee Percy, and then I saw him like during like the after show of that show, and then I just happened to run into him before he was about to go up for the next show. Because I think they were running two shows that night, and I happened to go to the first one with Renee Percy, and then I ran into Faisal Lawrence before he went up for the second one. So, and then this time, I did meet him for the first time at the boxing club downtown San Diego, and he was the headliner. So we got to meet that first time. Cool guy. Uh, but yeah, saw him again on Rachel's show, and did pretty well. Talked about his ethnicity, how he could be, either Muslim, uh, Middle Eastern, or he could be Dominican. So he talks about how he kind of reverts back to one of the two, if depending on the situation. So yeah, a lot of people laughing. I like him. Crowd liked him a lot. 8.5 out of 10. Then we have our headliner. First time seeing this guy, Ben Gleib. Guy talked about his dad. His dad passed away just like my dad. Uh, he had a lot of great memories, a lot of good jokes about his dad that he incorporated. I like his set. Crowd liked him a lot. There were periods where he kind of had like everybody's just kind of listening to it. Didn't really need to laugh at that moment, but like it was probably like 3 to 5 minutes at a time where there was no laughing because we were just listening to the story about him and his dad and some other stuff. So, but when it got to the punchlines and some funny stuff, uh, crowd laughed a lot. And there was one where he talked about he did a Zoom call for a comedy show and he was choking, and then everybody wanted him to stop recording the show and log off, and then get him to a hospital because he was choking us on like this mustache hair. True story, apparently. So some people can vouch for that too. I actually met Susan at that show Wednesday, so she actually could actually verify that story too. So I would say Ben Gleib 8.8 overall. I would say overall good show. Nice talking to Gabby, Susan, Ben. Got to run into Mike. Got to run into Lucy Love, Shar Rampton, Ellie Rickler. So I brought my friends with me. My friends Chris and Luai. They had a good time. I can tell. I'm glad to bring people to the show so they can see what I see. Um, Next show I went to Abnormal Nights comedy at the Adams Avenue Theater, run by Alex Petit. Um, Great show overall. Alex Petit started off things, had some trouble with PowerPoint, but it made even things even more funny. So I'm glad he had that kind of mishap because I'm always good for a good laugh. And I actually brought my friend Natalie with me, so she had a good time. Uh, I think Alex has some new jokes, but a lot of the fun stuff was the groundwork. Um, I would say Alex was an 8.2 out of 10 for his stuff. And then I believe we had Ben Mascatrado. He's a chef. First time seeing the guy. Really funny. Talked about this one joke where he hates being, I guess, I guess uh, I guess you could say he was, I don't know, typecast. Assuming that, if you're a cook or a chef, you should be much bigger, you should be fatter. But Ben is actually pretty slim, pretty fit. He kind of compared it to like, I don't know, I think he might have mentioned like football player where you're a football player, you look the part, but you can't play. And then I think there's something else where like if you're super skinny but you're fast and catch balls, I mean, you would think that, based on how someone looks, they should be doing a certain job. But honestly, I kind of find that sometimes true. But honestly, I'm very open minded. And when it comes to like chefs, don't always have to be big. Chefs can be in between skinny and big. So overall, he was pretty funny. I would say he was like a 8.6 out of 10. And then I remember there was Obretta Di Dio. First time seeing her, she was super funny. She talked about having dual citizenship, And then she talked about her vagina. She talked about dating. I liked her a lot. I actually enjoyed her set. I'm glad I went. She was an 8.6 out of 10. Then we got, I believe it was Dusty Tunnel. Talked about waffle stopping. Talked about psychiatrist, therapy, plumber. Uh, Talked about being sober for a year, celebrated by drinking. So overall, he did pretty well. Got a lot of laughs. 8.6 out of 10. Um, then let's see. Uh, we got Joel Sotomayor. First time seeing him, I think. Uh, Did a great job. Talked about his heritage. I think he talked about dating too. So uh, he did talk about how English was not his first language, but he said that German was his first language, even though I guess he's a Latino. So everybody was a little bit kind of confused, but got people laughing. Uh, I would say he was an 8.4 out of 10. Uh, did a great job with the crowd. Crowd liked him. Just kind of keeping the full fact that everybody in the audience really liked him. And then we have our headliner, Ahmed uh, Bharoocha, I believe his name is. And guy's pretty awesome. Talked about dated, also heritage, family. So, um, guy was really good. Crowd liked him quite a bit. Uh, I would say Ahmed was a 9 out of 10. Overall, great show. And honestly, I think Natalie, my friend, liked the show a lot. I think this might have been her first comedy show, and I'm glad that I got to bring her and show her this type of comedy show because Alex does pretty well with his shows. So I'm glad that that's a nice way to kind of break into comedy, and that's the kind of show I want to show people. If you recommend a comedian or a show, I would probably pick that kind of show because you get a good quality of comics on the show, top to bottom, and can't go wrong with it. So great show. Kudos to Alex and McKay for putting on a great show, great lineup. Keep it going. Um, oh, March Madness. What's great is that SDSU was placed as a number 5 seed in the I guess it's the South region or something, and they were placed in the same bracket as the defended national champions, UConn, Connecticut. That was a rematch from last year, for 2023, for the championship, SDSU versus UConn. What's great is that SDSU beat University of Alabama, Birmingham very convincingly. Uh, Tough game too, because I think they had to deal with the fact that UAB was coming back and made things very close. And honestly, it got me a little worried because that's the issue. There's usually 5-12 matchups. That's where a good chance that an upset will happen. But SDSU kept their composure and did pretty well. Executed in the clutch. They beat UAB 69-65. Great job, Aztecs. Uh, they also won in the second round. They played the 13th seeded Yale. Uh, Honestly, it was a mismatch from the beginning. Aztecs pretty much imposed their strategy, and they won very convincingly. Uh, I think it was 85-57. So great victory for the Aztecs. can't wait to see how they're going to do in the Sweet 16, round three against Connecticut. Connecticut kind of bulldozed through uh, Northwestern, and I don't remember who they played in the first round. It might have been Stenson or something. So it wasn't close. But UConn is like the favorite in this tournament, and it looked like they could be building a dynasty. Hopefully, the Aztecs can hang on because right now the lines are showing that Connecticut might actually beat the Aztecs by 10.5 points. So that game is on Thursday at 4:39 p.m. So I'm gonna try to find that a place to watch that game, and hopefully the Aztecs can hang with the national champions. And who knows, they might actually upset them. Cross my fingers. Duke University, they were the number four seed. They were placed in the same region as the number one seed, Houston. Houston had some problems. Duke didn't really have much of a problem with Vermont, and they also did not. They're the 13th seed, and they didn't have any problem with number 12, James Madison. So Duke had a pretty good time playing Vermont and James Madison, blew them both out. And now they get to set themselves up with the number one seed Houston, and I really think Duke can beat Houston. Houston's gonna have a hard time with Duke. What I really hope is that SDSU, San Diego State, will be playing against Duke University in the final. That's my dream final, and whoever wins between those two, I'll be happy with it. SDSU, that'll be pretty awesome. If Duke wins, that'll be even better. So can't wait to see what happens because we're down to 16 teams now. So the four number ones, North Carolina, Houston, Connecticut, UConn, and uh, who is it? I don't remember. Uh, who's the other one? Oh well, I guess. Yeah. So the four number ones, they survive. They made it to the Sweet 16. The four number two survive, and they made it to the Sweet 16. So they make up half of the Sweet 16. And then you got your, the six seeded Clemson. You got Iowa State. You got Illinois. You got Tennessee in there. Gonzaga's in there too. Uh, so it's gonna be an interesting Sweet 16 and going forward. Honestly, I think Duke can run the tables, but I can also see North Carolina also doing that too, and I can also see North Carolina facing Duke in the final. So that could happen actually. Oh, the other number one is Purdue. How forget? Okay, Purdue looks pretty strong too. After losing to a number 16 seed last year, they are coming back pretty strong. So don't want to mess with them. Uh, Actually, it might be Purdue versus Connecticut or North Carolina. But Connecticut and Purdue looks like they're on the crash course to face each other. But we'll see. We'll see. Anywho, um, there's actually no perfect bracket, by the way, because Yale beat Auburn. And of course, there was Oakland beating Kentucky in the 3-14 matchup. Uh, yeah, a 13 seed won, a 14 seed won, a 12 seed won, 11 seed won. Uh, so no perfect brackets again this year. Oh well. Uh, Lakers. They are trying to get at least a very favorable position in the play-in tournament. Trying to get to at least number 7 or 8. But they probably won't get number 6 unless something really happens with the Kings and the Suns. So, uh, or the Dallas Mavericks. But we'll see what happens. Lakers just won yesterday, 150 to 145 over the Pacers. They actually faced each other in the NBA Cup Finals, and the Lakers won, and they became the first ever NBA Cup champion. Uh, so it looks like the Lakers do pretty well with the Pacers this season. So, yeah. Uh, Boston Celtics, they're doing pretty well. Number 1 in the East. Um, I mean, again, the only 2 teams that can really challenge them is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat. Um, then the other thing is um, the Nuggets. They are looking pretty good, trying to be number 1 in the West. But of course, they're trying to fight off the Oklahoma City Thunder, right on their tail. Um, the Wolves are kind of around there too, but I don't think they're gonna be number 1. So they don't have Karl Anthony Towns. They do have Anthony Edwards though, and Gobert. So they might be 2 or 3. We'll see. The Clippers they're kind of in the mix, but they'll probably be stuck in the top 4. But they'll probably be number 4 though. Maybe number 3. We'll see. LA Kings, well, LA Kings are doing pretty well. Uh, they're in 3rd place. They're gonna probably face off with the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs in the first round. But right now, they're trying to hang with the Vancouver Canucks, who are number 1 in the Pacific Division. But I don't know. The LA Kings can actually hang with the Oilers. They can hang with the Canucks, and obviously they can also hang with the Golden Knights of Vegas. But who knows if the Kings can beat the Avalanche or the Dallas Stars on the other side of the West bracket. So, and then on the East side, you got the Panthers, you got the Hurricanes, the Bruins. So they're probably gonna wait for the Kings, and the Kings make it out of the West. So we'll see how it is. Things are heated up in the Stanley Cup playoff race. So, and Padres, they play 2 games in Korea. Um, they the Kings, the Padres, they lost the first game 5-2. They were ahead of the Dodgers 2-1, but the bullpen gave up 4 runs. There was I guess equipment failure. Jake Cronenworth had a ground ball in his glove, but it ripped through the webbing of his glove and it allowed 3 runs to score. Uh, it led to 3 runs to score. So Padres didn't win the first game. But what do you know? Second game, offensive explosion, 15-11. Manny Machado hit a 3-run homer in the 9th inning off of the Dodgers. Sealed the game, won 15-11. So Dodgers and Padres split the series in Korea, which is pretty awesome. I like that. So that kind of tells me maybe the pitching's good, maybe the pitching's kind of good, but at least the offense kind of woke up. So hopefully I can see good things happening for the Padres this year. They could contend, actually. They might hang with the Giants. They might hang with the Diamondbacks. And they might hang with the Dodgers and the Braves and the Phillies and the Rangers and the Orioles and the Rays. So 2024 is looking pretty good. Well, guys, you heard me talk about sports, comedy. Next time I talk to you guys, I'll talk to you guys more about NCAA tournament, more sports, and stay tuned, guys. More comedy too. You know what saying goes? Boom! Tiggy Maximus, signing off, baby. All right, there, guys.